Welcome to the Edge You Magic New Educator podcast, the go-to show for supporting new educators navigating the exciting journey from campus to the classroom. Join your host, Dr. Sam Fecich, for a blend of inspiration, advice, and practical strategies, one cup of coffee at a time.
I'm Chris Nessie, host of Behind the Mic, Voices of the EPN, a part of the Education Podcast Network. Just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Hello, Edumagicians, and welcome back to another episode of the Edu Magic Podcast. My name is Dr. Sam Fecich, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a really neat strategy to show what you know in a different way, using infographics. So if you've never used an infographic before, I'd love for you to just pause this episode and search on Google for educational infographics. You're going to notice a few things. First, they're visually appealing. There's usually a step-by-step process or separate sections of information. You'll also see graphics and images related to the content displayed on the infographic. Lastly, you might notice some statistics displayed in a graphical way. So maybe there is a bar graph or a percentage or different icons on the graph to make the statistics more visually appealing. An infographic can take lots of information and bring it into a more visual, appealing way to get that information across to the audience. So I want to share with you one way I've used infographics with my future teachers. So each year, my students read a research article related to educational technology and their specific niche in education. For example, elementary educational technology or iPads in the middle school classroom, or using Class Dojo to manage classroom behavior or parent communication in the elementary classroom. And they do this by first going to the library databases and they find a research article that needs to be peer-reviewed, published within the last 5 years, related to educational technology used in the classroom and their specific content or subject area expertise. They then read through the article and jot down a few notes about that research article, and then they go over to one of my favorite edtech tools, Canva, and create an infographic. So did you know that research articles, reading them out and writing a paper, by creating an infographic, it can also give students some of those skills when it comes to summarizing, rewriting content in their own words, being able to get that information out in a different way from the research article and what they've read onto an infographic. So I would love to start by walking you through creating an infographic in Canva during today's episode. So if you head on over to canva.com, and if you're a practicing teacher listening to this episode, you can get a free Canva educator account by going to canva.com/education. You'll have to fill out some nitty-gritty details, but you will be able to have access to more opportunities on the platform, like different graphics and different images, different templates, all for free as a practicing teacher. If you're not a practicing teacher yet, no worries, you can still create a free account, but you won't have access to all the different features as a practicing teacher would in the education account. So once you've headed over to canva.com, and that's canva.com, and you've created your free account, you're going to have access to lots of different things within Canva. You can create documents, you can create presentations, social media posts like for Instagram, X, or Facebook. You can create a document. You can create headers for your Google Classroom. You can even create educational websites, and you can have fun with some of their desktop wallpapers. As an educator, you get access to different types of worksheets and printables. So there's a lot you can do within Canva. Today, we're just focusing on one little part of Canva, and that's an infographic. So when you start off with Canva, it's going to have all the different designs you can make. But up at the top screen, it'll say search for Canva's content. And you can just go ahead and type in infographic. And as you start to type, Canva will start to guess what do you want to create. And it'll come up with lots of different ideas. So I typed in infographic, and it's coming up with infographic poster. So I'm just going to search for infographic. Up next, it's going to search through all of its templates related to infographic. And this is a really nice way to go ahead and explore all the different content and ways visually appealing content can be on an infographic. So there are different examples. One example that comes up is a classroom rules infographic. This is a great way to show quick positive reminders of classroom expectations. Another one relates to math content and multiplication properties. Another one relates to divisibility rules in math. So these are great ways to create little step-by-step reminders for students. Or you can create one related to a research paper that you've read in place of writing a research paper. So you can create one related to a research article like we did in my class. But you'll notice that all the different templates, no matter what the content is, it's visually appealing. So there's related graphics. There's a chunked out content related to the piece within the infographic. It is easy to read. It's very visually appealing with bright colors. And some of them include steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, making it very easy to see. Others include graphics related to the content. So for example, there's an infographic about punctuation. It has a period, the word period, a picture of a period mark, and then when it's used at the end of a sentence. They have an exclamation mark with a picture of an exclamation mark used for expression when making a declaration. So there's lots of different ways that you can use infographics, but you'll see commonalities throughout that have great hallmarks of quality infographics. I also love it for like a history timeline. When you're creating a timeline of topics or chronological order, that's another nice way to use infographics. 8 key points, using statistical information to get that out there to your audience. So there's lots of different ways you can use infographics. The first step is choosing one that fits your content. So what kind of information are you going to be displaying? And then that will dictate what kind of infographic you're going to create. So I'm going to choose one that is related to, it says 6 impactful professions. I'm going to use this template. And then once you're in Canva, everything on here you can change out to be related to your content or your research article or your project that you're making. So you can double click on the text, you can add in your own text, you can change out the images, you can change out the way things are displayed, you can move things around your screen. So once you've filled in your content by adding in your own headings, adding in your own text, swapping out the images, you can really make it your own then. So it doesn't look like a template, it looks like your own project. And what's also really cool, if you're using a template, you're like, oh, I really like the way that these images are designed. You can go back to the template creator, and sometimes within Elements, you can search for that specific username and it'll pull up all the graphics that designer has created so you can stay within the same theme. And shout out to Diana, a student in my class, who shared with me that really cool Canva tip. In your infographic, if you wanted to add additional content, you can upload content, you can draw, you can pull in text like headings or subtext. You can also add in elements like graphics and decorations. You can add in stickers and photos, charts, which is a great way to show statistical information. So you can choose bar charts, pie charts, infographic stickers that has percentages, and other types of charts like a table if you wanted to really get into that data that's displayed in your content. So even though you're working with a template, you can still make it your own by adding in elements, adding in text, adding in your uploads, or drawing out content, which really is a fantastic resource. Once you have your infographic created and developed, all you need to do is click share. And then I recommend downloading it as two ways. One would be a JPEG, so you can share it out on social because people want to see what you're creating. And the other one is a PDF standard or a PDF print. So by downloading it as a PDF, it's now easier to read and easier to see. And if you're using it as a presentation, you can do that. Use it as a PDF and submit it if you're doing this for a homework assignment, or you can download it as a JPEG, great for sharing. Another really neat feature with the educator account within Canva, there's a feature called Magic Switch, and it'll take your infographic and switch it into resizing it to, for example, a social media post or a presentation. So now you can take this one piece of content and mix it up into a social media post or resize it to be a presentation if you're going to be presenting this to a class. So using an infographic to develop content, a great way for a visual representation. You can do step by step. You can do different types of ELA rules or math functions and formulas. You can do classroom expectations for an infographic. Infographic syllabus is a really neat way to display all that information on your 12-page syllabus chunked down into important parts. So infographics, fantastic way to get a lot of information out, but in a visually appealing way. If you're using infographics in your classroom, I would love to hear what you're doing. Please send me a DM over on Instagram. You can find me at @Fecich. That's SFECICH. And I would love to see how you're using infographics in your classroom. All right, friends, I hope you have a fantastic day. And remember, you have the EduMagic. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the EduMagic New Educator podcast. If you found it helpful, please leave a rating and review or share it with a friend. Always remember, you have the EduMagic in you.